Bill Gaither, one of the most influential figures in gospel track, had an adolescence that fashioned his passion for song and faith. Born on March 28, 1936, in Alexandria, Indiana, William James Gaither grew up in a small city pudding that became wealthy in love, faith, and a deep appreciation for song. His early years have been marked by using the warmth of a near-knit family and the values instilled in him by way of his mother and father, George and Layla Gaither. From a young age, Bill turned into surrounded via the sounds of gospel hymns and Southern gospel quartets, which played a good-sized position in molding his musical hobbies. His parents, religious Christians, have been committed contributors in their nearby church, where tune played a vital element in worship offerings. Bill became specifically interested in the harmonies of church choirs and gospel groups, and he fast evolved a deep love for making a song and songwriting. Growing up within the rural Midwest, Bill experienced an easy but fulfilling adolescence. He spent his days gambling with buddies within the fields, helping with chores across the house, and attending church services along with his family. His small metropolis upbringing furnished him with a strong experience of network wherein friends supported one another and religion changed into an imperative, a part of each day life. This environment nurtured his love for gospel tune and gave him the inspiration he might later construct his profession upon. Bill's first publicity tune came from his mom, who played the piano and frequently sang hymns around the residence. He might take a seat beside her, listening intently and looking to sing alongside. As he grew older, his fascination with song handiest deepened. His dad and mom diagnosed his talent and encouraged him to develop it in addition. By the time he was a teenager, Bill had begun playing the piano himself and experimenting with songwriting. In high school, Bill formed his first gospel quartet with a number of his classmates. They would collect after college to exercise harmonies and carry out at local churches and community activities. It was for the duration of this time that Bill started to recognize the strength of tune, not simply as enjoyment, however, as a way to inspire and produce people towards their faith. His capacity to put in writing heartfelt lyrics and create shifting melodies set him aside even at a young age. Despite his love for tune, Bill initially pursued a more conventional profession course. After graduating from high college, he attended Anderson College, now Anderson University in Indiana, where he studied English and training. His mother and father had constantly emphasized the significance of schooling, and Bill believed coaching would provide him with stability. He became an excessive school English trainer, a process he loved, as it allowed him to connect with students and share his ardor for words and storytelling. However, his love for gospel music by no means faded. Even whilst coaching, he persisted, writing songs and appearing with gospel businesses. He formed the Bill Gaither Trio with his brother Danny Gaither and his sister Mary Ann. They completed at neighborhood churches and small gospel gatherings, slowly constructing a reputation for his or her heartfelt performances and uplifting harmonies. Bill's adolescence experiences, his robust Christian upbringing, the influence of gospel music in his home, and the unwavering support of his circle of relatives laid the inspiration for what might become a high-quality career in gospel track. His early years instilled in him a deep love for religion, bathed totally song, a passion that could later lead him to write down a number of the most beloved gospel songs of all time. The classes he discovered as a toddler in a small city in Indiana, the importance of faith, circle of relatives, and perseverance, shaped now not most effective his tune. However, additionally, the men he became. Bill Gaither had spent a lifetime surrounded with the aid of tune, faith, and friendships that transcended mere professional collaboration. He had built his profession now, not simply through writing and appearing gospel songs, however, by developing a community, a family of voices who lifted each other up in both song and lifestyles. Among those closest to him were Jake Hess, George Jantz, and Vestal Goodman. These have been no longer simply colleagues or fellow performers. They have been his dearest friends, kindred spirits who shared his passion for spreading the gospel through music. They had traveled together, sung collectively, prayed collectively, and walked via each joyous and tough season's facet by way of side. But nothing may want to have organized Bill for the heartbreak of dropping all of them in the sort of brief span of time. The first blow came in January 2004, whilst Jake Hess handed away. Jake turned into extra than just an iconic voice in gospel music. He changed into a mentor, a father discern, and a lifelong concept to Bill. Jake had a signature fashion, a manner of handing over a track that made every lyric feel deeply non-public. Bill often credited Jake as one of the motives he fell in love with gospel song inside the first place. From the instant they met, there was an unspoken understanding between them, a mutual admire that grew right into a deep friendship. Bill ought to nonetheless hear Jake's heat, unmistakable voice in his thoughts, recounting memories from the street, cracking jokes, or offering phrases of encouragement. Jake had battled several health troubles over time, and Bill had watched with both admiration and sorrow as his friend confronted each battle with unwavering faith. Bill visited him regularly in his final months, cherishing each moment that they had left. When the decision came that Jake had handed, Bill felt as if time had stopped. He determined himself, sitting at the piano, gambling the melodies that they had once sung together, permitting the song to hold his grief. Bill stood many of the masses of individuals who had been touched by means of his buddy's voice, and as they sang hymns of comfort, he struggled to hold returned tears. The man who had shaped his musical adventure become long past, and the arena felt quieter without him. Bill became nevertheless processing the loss of Jake when, in April 2005, tragedy struck once more. George Jantz, the cherished bass singer, passed away after years of declining health. George became one of the most glad, charismatic people Bill had ever regarded. His deep, resonant voice had described the cathedrals and later became a cornerstone of the Gaither homecoming circle of relatives. But past his skills, George became a person of kindness, humor, and unwavering faith. He had a way of creating anyone around him experience special, and Bill had spent countless hours giggling at his jokes, sharing meals, and discussing existence, track, and faith. Watching George's fitness go to pot were agonizing. Bill had visited him frequently, supplying prayers and encouragement, understanding that the give-up turned into near. However, nothing should put together him for the very last goodbye. As he sat at George's funeral, surrounded by means of grieving friends and circle of relatives, he reflected on all of the moments that they had shared on level backstage, on long bus rides, where they might reminisce about the old days and dream approximately the future. George had been a rock for such a lot of humans, and now that rock turned into gone. The weight of the loss was nearly too much to endure. Simply when Bill concept, his heart couldn't take any more sorrow. December 2005 introduced yet some other crushing blow. Vestal Goodman, the queen of gospel song, handed away suddenly, leaving a void that might in no way be filled. If George were the coronary heart of their circle and Jake the mentor, Vestal turned into the soul, her voice full of both energy and tenderness, may want to shake the rafters of any church and pass even the maximum hardened soul to tears. But it wasn't simply her voice, it turned into her presence. Vestal had a bigger-than-lifestyles character, a warmth that wrapped round human beings like a loving embrace. She called anyone darling and made them feel as though they had been the most vital individual in the international. Bill had always favored the manner Vestal carried herself with each power and style. She had confronted her own struggles in lifestyles, but she had by no means lost her religion, by no means stopped making a song, never stopped loving humans. Her unexpected passing felt unfair, unreal. Bill observed himself replaying old performances, listening to her voice soar through songs like God on the Mountain and What a Lovely Name. He overlooked her laughter, her information, her unwavering perception inside the power of music to heal and uplift. Losing Jake, George, and Vestal in the sort of short time felt like losing pieces of himself. The homecoming circle of relatives had constantly been about greater than simply music. It was about the deep bonds they had shaped, the manner they'd supported one another through triumphs and trials alike. Now 3 of its brightest lighting fixtures were long gone.